I once waited 2 hours for a table and the food was cold when it arrived.
2 hours for cold food.
And I still left a tip. That is how British I am. Welcome back to English for Everyone, the podcast where two real people have real conversations in English, and you get to listen in, learn, and level up your language at the same time. I am Esther, I am a Londoner born and raised, and I am joined as always by my co-host Jimmy.
Good to be here. And I have to say, that story from Esther is not even surprising to me at this point. London food culture is something else entirely, and today we are diving deep into it. We are talking about food and eating out in London, the vocabulary, the culture, and honestly, some survival tips you are going to need.
Exactly. Whether you are visiting London, living here, or just dreaming about it from your sofa, this episode will help you feel confident in any restaurant, cafe, or chippy in the city.
Right, so let us start at the very beginning. You walk into a restaurant, what happens?
Okay, so in a lot of countries, you walk in and someone immediately seats you. London is a little different. A lot of restaurants, especially the nicer ones, require a reservation.
Mhm.
That means you book a table in advance, usually online or by phone. But if you just walk in without one, the first thing you do is speak to the host or the front of house staff. And you would typically say something like, "Hi, do you have a table for two?" Or, "We do not have a reservation, but is there any availability?"
And they will either seat you straight away or they will ask you to wait. And this is where my 2 hour story was born. The phrase you will hear is, "We can seat you in about 20 minutes." Or if it is really busy, there is currently a wait of around 45 minutes to an hour.
And you have to decide, do I wait or do I go somewhere else? Totally your choice. But if you decide to wait, they might say, "Can I take your name?" And they will call you when your table is ready.
Exactly. Now, once you are seated, a waiter or waitress or server, which is what a lot of people say now, will come to your table.
Right.
They will usually start by saying, "Hi, I will be your server this evening. Can I get you some drinks to start?" This is your cue. This is them signaling that they are ready to take your order, starting with drinks.
And a really common thing people miss is you do not have to order everything at once. You can say, "Could we have a few more minutes, please?" Totally acceptable. Nobody is rushing you.
Nobody should be rushing you. Now, when you are ready to order food, the server will come back and say, "Are you ready to order?" And then you go through the menu together. If you are ordering a starter, a main course, and a dessert, those are your three courses. A starter is the small dish at the beginning of the meal. A main course is the big central dish, and dessert is the sweet treat at the end.
I love a good dessert.
You do, I know. Now, there is some vocabulary on the menu that can be confusing for learners. For example, seasonal means the ingredients change depending on the time of year. Pan-fried means cooked in a pan with a little oil or butter. Slow cooked means the dish was cooked for a long time at low heat to make it very tender.
Mm-hmm.
And if something is house-made or homemade, it means the restaurant made it themselves rather than buying it pre-made.
Right. And if you see something on the menu and you are not sure what it is, please just ask. You can say, "Sorry, could you tell me what this dish is?" Or, "What does this come with?" Servers are used to these questions. It is completely normal.
Completely normal. Now let us talk about something really important, dietary requirements. This is vocabulary every ESL learner needs. If you cannot eat certain foods for health, religious, or personal reasons, you need to be able to say this clearly.
Yeah, that's so important.
So, for example, I am vegetarian means you do not eat meat. I am vegan means you do not eat any animal products at all. No meat, no dairy, no eggs. I am gluten free means you cannot eat wheat or gluten. And I have a nut allergy is perhaps the most important one because allergies can be very serious.
And the way you phrase it at a restaurant is really important. You would say, "I just want to let you know that I have a nut allergy. Can you let the kitchen know?" Or, "Is this dish suitable for vegetarians?" Or, "Does this contain dairy?" The staff will always take this seriously and check with the kitchen for you.
Always, restaurants in the United Kingdom are actually legally required to disclose allergens, so they take this very seriously.
Okay, now I want to talk about something that is very close to my heart, British food, because I feel like British food gets a bad reputation internationally and I want to defend it.
Go on then, defend it.
Okay, so first, the Sunday roast. This is a classic British meal that happens on Sundays, usually around lunchtime or early afternoon. You get a big plate of roasted meat, typically chicken, beef, lamb, or pork, with roast potatoes, vegetables, and something called Yorkshire pudding.
Yorkshire pudding, right?
And Yorkshire pudding is not a dessert despite the name. It is a light, crispy baked batter dish that you pour gravy over.
I had my first proper Sunday roast when I was studying in Cambridge, and I genuinely could not believe how good it was.
Right? It is a complete meal. Very filling, very warming, very British. And the vocabulary to know is a roast dinner, gravy, which is a thick sauce made from meat juices, mash, which is mashed potato, roasties, which is the informal word for roast potatoes, and stuffing, which is a seasoned bread mixture cooked alongside the meat.
Now, what about fish and chips? Because you cannot talk about British food without fish and chips.
Fish and chips is the national dish, I would argue. It is battered cod or haddock, deep fried, served with thick cut chips, which is what British people call fries by a way. In America, fries are thin. In Britain, chips are thick. And to confuse things further, what Americans call chips, the thin, crispy ones in a bag, we call crisps.
So, to be clear, chips in Britain equals fries in America. Crisps in Britain equals chips in America.
Exactly. And fish and chips are often served wrapped in paper with salt and vinegar. You can eat them walking down the street if you want. That is the London experience. And the place where you buy them is called a fish and chip shop or a chippy.
I love a chippy. Now I want to mention meal deals because this is a massive part of eating culture in London, especially for people who work in the city. A meal deal is a set lunch offer you get at supermarkets like Tesco, Sainsbury's, Marks and Spencer, or Boots. Yes, Boots the pharmacy also does food. For a fixed price, usually around £4 or £5, you get a main item like a sandwich or salad, a snack like crisps or fruit, and a drink. It is incredibly popular for lunch.
It is actually a great way to save money and still eat well. And the vocabulary here, a meal deal, a sandwich, a wrap, which is like a flatbread rolled around a filling, a snack pot, and a cold drink. The meal deal is deeply embedded in London working life.
Right, now let us talk coffee culture because London has become a serious coffee city and the cafe vocabulary can be overwhelming if you are not used to it.
It really can. So let us go through some terms. An Americano is espresso with hot water. It is strong and simple. A flat white is espresso with a small amount of steamed milk. It is smaller and stronger than a latte. A latte is espresso with lots of steamed milk and a little foam. A cappuccino is espresso with equal parts steamed milk and foam. And an oat milk latte is very popular right now because a lot of people choose non-dairy alternatives.
And if you just want a simple English tea, you ask for a cup of tea, please. And in most places, they will bring you a black tea, usually English breakfast or Earl Grey, with a little milk on the side. And saying milk, no sugar, or 2 sugars, please, is completely standard.
I take mine with oat milk and no sugar, just for the record.
I drive everywhere, so I try not to judge people who have sugar.
That is not a connected thought, but okay.
Moving on, let us talk about paying the bill. This is a really important skill. When you are ready to leave, you need to ask for the bill. In Britain, we say the bill. In America, they say the check. But in London, you ask for the bill. You can say, "Could we have the bill, please?" Or, "Whenever you are ready, could we get the bill?"
Now, splitting the bill is also very common. This means each person pays for what they ordered rather than one person paying for everything. You might say to the server, "Could we split the bill, please?" Or, "Can we pay separately?" They will usually accommodate this without any problem.
And most restaurants and cafes now accept card payments, contactless payments, and Apple Pay or Google Pay. Cash is becoming less common, but you can still use it in most places.
Now, let us talk about tipping. This one confuses a lot of people because tipping culture varies hugely from country to country. In the United Kingdom, tipping is not mandatory, but it is appreciated.
Yeah, that's a big one.
In restaurants, 10 to 15% of the total bill is considered generous. Some restaurants add a service charge automatically to the bill. You will see it written as something like 12.5% service charge included. In that case, the tip is already included and you do not have to add more.
But, and I say this as someone who still tipped after waiting 2 hours for cold food, some people feel strongly about tipping regardless of service quality. I have strong feelings about this topic.
And for cafes, a tip is less expected, but a lot of coffee shops have a tip jar on the counter and it is purely optional. For pubs, tipping is not really done in the same way because you usually order at the bar and pay immediately.
That is a really important distinction. Pub culture is another whole episode.
It really is. Okay, so let us wrap up with a few key phrases you can take with you today. Do you have a table for two? Could we have a few more minutes, please? What does this dish come with? I have a nut allergy. Can you let the kitchen know? Could we have the bill, please? Can we split the bill? And is the service charge included?
Those are your survival phrases for eating out in London.
Learn those, and you will be completely confident in any restaurant, cafe, or chippy this city has to offer.
And that is it for episode 2 of English for Everyone. Thank you so much for spending this time with us. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, leave a comment, and tell us what is your favorite food from your home country. We would love to know.
Until next time, keep listening, keep speaking, and keep learning. See you soon.